Hi, beautiful souls. I've come out here for a bit of invigorating sea music, fresh air, getting that good fresh air into my lungs. I went to see the doctor today. Just far too many situations going on with my cough that aren't relaxing and aren't restful for me right now. One of the issues being that I have this lesion on my lung that none of the hospital departments are talking about amongst each other. And so I spoke to my doctor today. My doctor basically informed me what exactly it all means. And of course, it would be lovely to say it's really, really hopeful. But she didn't exactly share a message of hope, although she did share a lot of wisdom with me, and that was really beautiful. She also turned out that this particular doctor had worked in the hospice, and so she was able to share a lot of insider information from the hospice perspective, which was again very useful for me, because there will come a time when my body decides that it's had enough here. And when that time comes, it's better to be prepared and informed than to be afraid and running away from something. I know that it's not a scary situation to actually die, but I know that the human will hang on to everything it has in order to avoid death. And just as much as probably when you get on the other side, well, not just probably, but when you are actually on the other side, in other world or whatever you want to call it, you don't really want to come back from there because it is total bliss. Anyone that's had a near-death experience will tell you probably that you don't want to come back. I had a near-death experience a long time ago, and I just had a full life review. That's what happened for me. It was like I was sitting at this table with guides, I guess. There was about 12 of them, and then I just had this whole review of my life, and the next thing I knew I was back on the beach. So I don't think I really was kept there for that long. They were like, what the heck are you doing here? You're not ready yet, you can go back. So yeah, they just spat me straight back out. So anyway, it was informative and quite helpful, really, because one of the things that I was concerned about was at my mother's end of life. She was on these drugs that made her completely out of reality. She was psychotic and far too sensitive to be taking opiates and the strength that they were. Of course, I didn't know any better back then, and nobody informed me that there could have been another way that they could have been given to her. Of course, my mother, being quite stubborn, didn't want to go into the hospice to get the drugs regulated, so we had to manage her at home with all of her moaning and her pains. And my goodness, I have to say that back then I was not in a place to hold space for that kind of thing, and I used to hate her for all of the moans and the hurt and the screams that used to come out of her mouth when she was in discomfort and agony. So when you've been witness to something like that, you can't help but be aware that that's not something you want to replicate. And I definitely don't want to replicate that. And I definitely want my own way of doing things when it comes to that moment. But like I said to the doctor, I told her about my dream with my mother, and I said to her, I know that I'll know when it's time. And she said, you will know when it's time. You will know when it's time. And I'm not sure if she said that just because she just knows a lot about how people are and that they just know when it's their time, or whether it was because I seemed to her to be quite imbalanced with the spiritual path, not just the spiritual path, but walking this path, because most humans, everybody in fact, wants to have that sense of security, of knowing that what will happen tomorrow, and they like that sense of security of knowing. And there is no sense of security of knowing when you are walking your path and your path is getting closer to source. There is no sense of like, oh, I mean, everybody has this vision of what they want for their futures, or at least most people do have a vision of what they want for their futures. But people die all the time, and a lot of those deaths they just happen. They just happen. It's without any warning. I mean, I've known people that have had no warning, and then they've just gone, boom, gone. And that was it. And so when you're given this opportunity to prepare, there is some grace in that, but of course it also can stop you from living, because you think, well, is it worth me getting involved in this? Is it worth me doing this? Is it worth that? And my answer to anyone that is on going through something like similar to even what I'm going through, there is always, absolutely always, until your last breath, you must fully live and fully engage, and you must never give up. You must always be like, okay, that doesn't mean that you don't surrender when that time is there, but don't give up on life. That's what I mean. It's like, if you have life in you, then you live it and you embrace it, and you do everything that you can to make it joyful, you make it fun, you engage with other people, you just share what wisdom you have, share the laughs within you, sing, dance, be goofy, do whatever you have to do that just lights you up and just shines your light in this world, because every unique expression of light lends to the whole experience that we're here to enjoy and feel that fulfillment whilst we're here in these human forms, or divine human forms, if we are rising and feeling that expansion within our frequencies. So today was an interesting day. It started off a little bit wobbly, a little bit shaky. I had a coughing fit at one point today, which was quite extreme. That was very tiring. Coughing fits are tiring. I try to suppress them as much as possible. But can't always suppress them. And then I had a lovely chat with a friend, a father of a friend of mine, and he was really, really kind. He was listening to me, I was listening to him, there was no judgment. He's very, very straightforward and honest, truthful. I love people like that, people that are vulnerable, people that speak their truth, people that don't have masks, people that are just really honest and authentic. Gosh, it's so refreshing to meet people like this. And then at the end, when we were talking, and of course we talked about my tree and the trees, and he agreed with me, of course, because he's also a greenie as well. And then I said to him how I'd cried about the tree, and again he just looked at me and didn't say anything. He just was witnessing. And then he gave me this big hug, which was just so kind, and I felt instantly like, well, that was really, really nice of him, because he must have realised, yes, just going from the heart, that's all it takes, going from the heart. And then later on I went and I had a nice chat with a friend of mine, and then I bumped into a complete stranger and we had a nice chat. Nothing fancy, just starts off with a little bit of light-hearted, what do they call it again? I can't even remember the name of it. The chit-chats when there's nothing really being said. But these chit-chats when nothing is really said are actually useful openers, because then you can say stuff, small talk, that's the word I'm looking for. So yeah, that was good. And then having this very in-depth conversation, the doctor was really generous with her time, and it's helped me to get some clarity on where things are for me right now, what I want for my future, and what I need to be getting on with to make those things happen moving forwards. And I will continue to do these videos for as long as I'm able to. And there may come a point when I stop doing them altogether. I can't tell you, I really don't know. But I do want to say that I appreciate every single one of you, all of your comments, all of your support, all of your love, all your kindness, all your compassion, and hope that you go out into the world and share the love and the compassion and just enjoy yourselves and live happy, wonderful lives and fulfilling lives as much as possible. You know, this is not my final video, so please don't take it as that I'm being maudlin. I'm just, I suppose, speaking from the heart. Just, I'm not afraid to talk about death. It's so very peculiar how people can't talk about these things. It's as if it's like a failure that, to die. There's no failure in death. In fact, it's a celebration. You should be happy for people when they die and they get out of this experience that's so just ridiculous, actually. We live on this beautiful planet with all these beautiful animals and life forms around us, and what does human do? Just come and ruin it all, and trash it all, hate on each other and kill the animals, and to be honest, that's no way to live on a place like this. It's pretty disgusting what humans have been doing for centuries, thousands and thousands of years on this planet. Since the great fall of Atlantis, humans have been disgusting. And so, it's a celebration to leave this planet and leave these humans that are doing these atrocities, because, let's face it, they're not kind. But of course there are also lots of very beautiful, lovely, kind people. And like I've said before, the people that are doing the atrocities are probably just so traumatized themselves from thousands of years of traumas that they're just playing out some very, very peculiar pattern that's been going on for thousands upon years. So, it's all their karma, and they'll have to deal with it in whichever way they have to deal with it. So, I wish you all lots of joy on your paths. I'm going to have a nice little walk with my little dog, and I'm going to watch the sunset. Sunset's behind me, but I get to see the lights change across the water, and that brings me a lot of joy. And yes, if you want to send me some prayers for my well-being, then I would be graciously appreciative and grateful to receive those prayers. And I wish you all well. Peace and love. My name is ZsaZsa. Like, subscribe and share if you feel called to do so. Thank you.